will want to take some notes over this because it is not only on your extension problems, but it is also on your project that you have to do at the end of the year. So, and that project is worth as much as a test, so. All right, so some vocabulary for home loans. Mortgage, that is your selling price minus any down payment that you make. Down payment ranges from 0 to 30% of your selling price. Many people can get 0% if they are a new homeowner buying their first home, or if you have an FHA loan, or even a VA loan. Used to be that they gave out a lot of 0% interest loans until the housing crash of 2008, when banks had to eat those 0% loans. They pretty much quit doing that. So it's a little more difficult to get those down. Loan origination fees, those are in points, and every point is 1% of the selling price. Closing costs are fees at a closing of a house. That's when you are signing all the paperwork and you are exchanging the keys and so on and so forth. So closing costs. You decide before you even go in there who's going to pay those closing costs. Sometimes it's 50-50, seller, buyer. Sometimes it's all buyer, sometimes it's all seller. Two different types of mortgages. There are a fixed mortgage rate, which is also known as conventional, and adjustable mortgage rate. The fixed ones, the mortgage does not ever change. The adjustable rate, it does change with inflation. So if you want to stay on a consistent payment, always best to go with fixed, okay? Then if the interest rate goes down, you can always refinance your loan, okay? However, I do want you to be aware, even if you have a fixed mortgage rate, your payment can go up, okay? Because there are four different things that are included in your mortgage payment. There is principal and interest. There is also insurance and taxes. That is your escrow account. If your insurance and taxes go up, your payment goes up, okay? But the mortgage part does not ever change. For instance, with mine, we have a fixed mortgage rate, and so the mortgage doesn't go up. However, anyone from Hayes originally? All right. So this wonderful high school we're building has really screwed over homeowners pretty good. And so we make payment every other other week. My husband is responsible for making our house payment. So he gets paid every 2 weeks, and we make half of our house payment every 2 weeks. In June, every payment went up $100. Okay, that's $200 a month that it went up because of taxes. In January, same thing happened. $200 more. Okay, 100 of a paycheck. So over the course of last 8 months, year, it's gone up $400 a month. Okay, because of taxes. And when taxes go up, your house value goes up, which also makes your insurance go up. Okay, because it costs more to insure a house that is worth $300,000 than $200,000. So that really kicks you in the butt. However, your house value goes up, so you want to sell your house, assuming you can get the value of it out, then you're good. But yeah, it can hurt you a lot. And standing in front of people doing taxes, everybody is hearing that. Everybody is saying that. So it feels like they're kind of pricing you out of your own home. Home equity is the difference in what the house is worth and what is owed on the house. So initially, when we bought our house, we bought it for $210,000. It was worth $285,000. So we had $75,000 in equity, and automatically, now our house is worth $380,000, and we owe $195,000. Okay, so we have a home equity of $195,000. Could sell it and buy something else with cash, right? So that would be lovely. But census of 2010 said that the median home cost in U.S. was $210,000 for existing homes that are already built. The median home for a new build of a house was $289,000. Okay. In 2023 in Kansas, the median home was $289,000. In the United States, according to Forbes magazine, it is $412,000. Okay. So, looks to me like Kansas is probably where you want to buy a house. That's quite a bit lower than the United States overall.
What if you can buy a median house?
Median, what does median mean?
Well, like, is it like
Middle number. So like it's the average if you are going to put the cost of the houses in order from least to greatest. So it's your middle number.
After in census 2010 is 289,000 says new builds.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically it's an average number, but it's for the middle number of the house, that is the house prices that are there. Okay, so to find your payment for your house or your car loan, you're going to use the payment formula that we talked about last week, which is payment equals P times the quantity R over N over 1 minus 1 plus R over N raised to the negative NT power, where P is principal, R is rate, N is the number of payments per year, and T is the time in years. Okay, so I'm giving you a question here. Actually, I have two questions, one for house and one for car. All right, so you're buying a house. Gosh darn it. This house is priced at $191,428.57. And you are going to put down a down payment of $30,000. That's wrong. How about 30%? Gosh, nobody in the last class even realized that. Okay, the interest in the loan is 6.5%, and you will have a loan for 30 years. Find the payment amount and check amortization and complete the amortization schedule for 4 months. Okay, so I took the amount of the price of the home, $191,428.57, and I took it times 0.70, okay? I did that because that's going to tell me how much I'm going to pay for the house, okay? Because if I'm putting 30% down, I'm paying 70% of it, okay? Because 30 and 70 is 100%, all right? So then I don't have to, if I didn't do it that way, I have to take 30% and then subtract it from 191,000. This way I eliminate that step, okay? Does that make sense? All right, perfect. So when I do that, I get $133,999.99999. All right, so I'm going to round that to $134,000 for my mortgage. Okay, that's how much I'm going to pay off for the mortgage. All right, to find my payment, I take it and put it in the payment formula. 134,000 times the quantity 0.065 divided by 12, all over 1 minus 1 plus that quantity, 0.065 divided by 12, all raised to the negative 360 power. okay? Now is when you need that really expensive calculator. All right, so, just like last week, you have got to do these in steps, okay? So the first thing you do is take 0.065 divided by 12. And that is 0.00541666666666667 all over 1 minus 1 plus that. All raised to the negative 360th power. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 1.0541666666667 and raise it to the negative 360th power, okay? Now, remember first, do not round these numbers. If you round them, you will not get the right answer, okay? The only time you round is at the very end when you get the dollar amount, all right? All right, so, I'm going to take it and raise it to the negative 360th power. The next thing you need to remember, if that number right there that you get is more than 1, you did not raise it to the negative power. You raise it to this 360th, okay? You've got to raise it to the negative, and it should be less than 1. So this number right here that I got with that is 0.1430247275. Okay? Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to subtract 1 from that, or actually in my calculator I'm going to take -1 so I don't have to re-type that in. That would give me a negative number, but it's the positive version of that I want, so that's 0.8569752725. Now I'm going to take the top number that I have there, and I'm going to divide it by this bottom number here. That gives me 134,000 times 0.0063208 206802. Take that times 134,000, and my payment amount is $846.97. This is where you round. I got 1 after that. 1 does not make that round up, so it stays 7. Okay, so $846.97 is my payment. I'm going to come over here to the amortization schedule. I know I cannot be the only person that does this, but I know not very many people do it either, okay? Amort in Latin means to kill off or to die, okay? So, this is a chart that's showing you killing off your mortgage, essentially, all right? Shows you how much interest you're paying every month, how much principal you're paying every month, and the balance going down, okay? This gives me a lot of satisfaction to watch it go down, so that's why I like to do it. So, first of all, in your book where it has date they actually have payment, I think. I tell my students, put the date down, because there are times that you will not, the payment will not post to your account, and you will need to go find out that it went through your bank account. If you don't have the date on there, you don't know when you made that payment, okay? But if you have the date, then you know it's somewhere in that 3 days or so, or 5 days on your bank statement that will show that that amount came out, okay? So that's why I say put the date, okay? And that does happen with all kinds of bills, so it's always a good thing to make sure that you write down, even like on your, water bill, when it is that it came out of your account, so that if it happens that it didn't post to your account, you know where to go look, okay? So you can prove that you made a payment. Especially medical bills, they like to not post those to your account and have you pay them more than once. All right, so this is how you do the amortization schedule, and this is on your extension problems a couple of times, and it is on your project a couple of times as well. So highly suggest that you make sure that you have this down, okay? You have the date column, you have paid interest column, you have paid principal column, and you have the balance column. In that first row, I have put what it is that you need to do to find that answer in that column. So paid interest, you're going to take the principal that you have, or the balance that you have, times the rate, times 1/12, because it's 1 month out of 12 months, okay? You got to keep interest in a year's time. Paid principal, you're going to take the payment that you made minus the interest amount. And then the balance, you're going to take the balance that you had initially, and you're going to subtract the paid principal, okay? So we're going to do, it says 4 months, we're actually going to go and do 5 months, I believe. Because I want you to see something that happens if you pay more than you should, okay? And we've got to do that many so that I can actually show you and so we can analyze what's going on, okay? All right, so 2-1. So you buy the house in December. Usually they give you 45 to 60 days to make your first payment. So we're going to make our first payment on February 1st. We're going to take the principal that we have is $134,000. We're going to take that times 0.065 times 1 and divide by 12. And that gives me an amount of $725.83 as my interest. Now paid principal, I'm going to take the payment amount, which is $846.97, and I'm going to subtract $725.83. I get $121.14. And then I'm going to take the balance that I had, $134, and subtract that $121.14. So my balance now is $133,878.86. Okay. Now on 3-1. On 3-1, your balance is this, so you're going to take that number times 0.065 and divide by 12. And you're going to get $725.18. Paid principal, you're going to take the payment amount, which is $846.97, and you're going to subtract that amount, $725.18. So my paid principal is $121.79. Then take your balance and subtract 121.79 from it. So now your balance is 133,757.10. Okay, in April 1st, you take this amount times 0.065, divide by 12, and the interest that you're gonna pay that amount, that month is $724.52. Take your payment, $846.97, subtract $24.52, and you get that you're paying a principal of $122.45. Take 133,757.10, subtract 122.45, and your new balance amount is 133,634.65. All right, in April, your grandfather passes away. In the will, your grandmother and grandfather have it put in the will that when one of them passes, then their children get an inheritance automatically of $10,000. Okay, even though the other one's alive, they have enough money that they have made sure that that can happen, okay? So, each one of their children gets $10,000. If their child has already passed away, it goes down to the grandchildren, okay? So, in my instance, this actually did happen, that's why. In my instance, when my grandfather passed away, my father was already passed, so, my brother and I split $10,000. I got 5, he got 5, okay? My cousins, their father was already passed away, so their $10,000 was split in 3, okay? So, they only got $3,333.33. It worked out better for me than they did, but anyways. Grandma specifically suggests that you do something wise with the money, not go blow it on stupid stuff. So you decide you're gonna put it against your house, okay? So here's what happens when that happens. So on 4/20, you get that money. $5,000 goes completely toward your principal because you've already paid interest in April. Okay, so then you take 133 and subtract 5,000 from it. So now your balance is $128,634.65. Okay. Okay. Now, on 5/1. You're going to take 128,000. And you're going to take times 0.065 and divide by 12 to get how much interest you're going to pay this month. And that is $696.77. Oh, I want to wait. Let's go back and analyze what's happening here, okay? So if I go 83 and 18, 83 minus 18 is 65 cents. So here I paid 65 cents more in principal the second month. The third month, I paid way. $121.79 minus $122.45. This month I paid 66 cents. So 65, 66, you can imagine it's gonna go 67, 68, 69, so on and so forth, right? Because we're adding 1 cent more each week, each month, all right? So now I want to go ahead and do this one. So $696.77, quite a jump here. Principal amount, I'm gonna take that $696.77 and subtract it from $846.97. So my principal amount this month is $150.20. Subtract that from $128,634.65, and I get $128,484.45. Now 6-1, so we can analyze what we're doing, how much we're getting off of our payments every month now. So take that times 0.065 and divide by 12. That's $695.96. Subtract it from $846.97. $151.01. And subtract that from $128,484.45. Okay. Now, what are we doing? So you see from principal balance here, 20 cents to 01 cents, that's 81 cents there. Okay. So if I take 81 cents and I subtract, this was 66, right? So because this is 66 and this is 81, and we would have continued going 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, assuming. If I subtract the 81 minus 66, I get that I deleted 15 payments there. Okay, so 1 year and 3 months of payments that I do not make because of the $5,000. Big difference, right? This is why I always say never make the amount that you are supposed to make. So if I had $846.97, I have a little bit of OCD. I may have told you that already. Everything has to end on 5s and 0s. If it doesn't, it drives me nuts. And if it does, if there's no way I can do a 5 and 0, it's got to be an even number. But with money and bills, I always have to end on a 25. Okay, so $846.97, I would always pay at least $850. And normally I would round up to the next 25. So I would usually pay $875 with that situation. Because that $28 that you're paying extra goes toward the principal every single month. There's no interest coming out of that, and all that goes toward principal, and it's very fast in how fast that adds up, okay? In 2 years, I think I eliminated 10 payments already with just paying a little bit extra every month on our mortgage, okay? 10 payments is a long time. It's almost a whole year, so, and you don't miss that money. I mean, $25 you can't hardly do anything with anymore, so, you know, might as well put it towards something good. Yes, and then not have it, you know, that's consumable, so you wouldn't have any show for that McDonald's, right? So.
I have the bag.
You would.
Yeah. Very sentimental type.
Yes, you are, you're right. more toward the payment here. For a house loan, you actually gotta add taxes and insurance to it as well. So on problems that you may have on WebAssign, they will give you a tax amount of $2,024 a year. And you've got to take 2,024 and divide by 12 to get the monthly amount, which is $168.67. And then insurance, $3,928 divided by 12 gives you an amount of $327.33. Add those together, I believe it's $496. And then you have to add that to the payment amount. So $846.97 plus $496 a month. So your payment actually is gonna be $1,342.97. All right, now, I have a car loan. So, many of you have this similar scenario on WebAssign. Only it's a Ford, Explorer. So, you negotiate a selling price of a car. I have $17,998 for a new-to-you Toyota Camry. You're gonna pay 10% down and finance the rest at 7% rate for 5 years. Sales tax is 8.2% of the selling price, and the license fee is 0.9% of the selling price. Find your monthly payment. All right, so to find out the selling price, I'm gonna take 17,998 times 0.9, which is 90% of it because I'm putting 10% down. 90% and 10% equal 100%, okay? Now you can subtract 10%, you can take it times 10% and then subtract it from 17,998, but you're gonna get the same number with just one equation there, okay? It's called using a complement of it. So $16,198.20 is the selling price. Once you get that, you can take it times 0.082 for 82.2% of the, for sales tax. So $1,321.77 for sales tax. And taking that same number times 0.9%, which is 0.009, gives me $145.07 for license fee. Adding these three together to get the amount that your principal is going to be gives me $17,586.04, right here. Okay, now, find your payment. Work that out for me. I do not think you got that. Yeah. I do not think you got that. I do not think you got that. And I do not think you got that. Did you? divided by 12 gives me 0.00588333333. Divided by 1 minus 1 plus that number, raised to the negative 60th power. When I take that to the negative 60th power, I get 0.7054050379. Subtracted from 1 gives me 0.2945949621. Divide 0.00583333 divided by 0.2945946621, and you get 17586.04 times 0.01980122215. Gives me a payment of $348.23. Does that seem like a reasonable price for a car?
Okay. No. Yeah.
Is that a reasonable price for a car? Okay. Here's another question, and I'm running out of time, but how do I figure out how much I pay overall for that car? Say again?
Yes.
Yes is not the answer.
Oh. Well, no.
Multiply by 12. $348.23 times 12. How many years? Times 5. So overall, you're going to pay $20,893.80. How do I find how much interest?
Like total?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, subtract the original amount, $17,586.04. Gives me a total of $3,307.76 in interest on that car. At rounded, I think, to $55 a month. If I take that divided by 5, I got 600 and something, and then divided by a month, 12 was like $55.11. All right, so here is what the rest of the week looks like. Wednesday, we will have a discussion on pros and cons of renting versus buying a house, pros and cons of leasing versus buying a car. Okay? Then Friday, we are going to do taxes to round out and finish up finances, and I will give you extra credit projects that you can do over spring break, because next week is spring break. Okay? So we will have 2 different discussions this week, and I will show you some extra credit projects that you can do and some samples of those. So you want to make sure that you're here. If you aren't here Friday, you don't get extra credit for spring break, which is a whole week you can be using on it, because one of them is a pretty in-depth project. Okay? Questions?
What do the projects look like?
What do the projects look like?